Something looked like it was looking around that doorway right there.
You saw something?
Yeah.
Come out! Come out right now!
Where's Bob?
What?
Oh, Bob is over there. What the I thought he was standing right here.
The
Yeah, I literally thought...
I didn't even see him anymore.
I thought I heard someone walking there for a second, and then I looked this way. He's not even there.
What would you do if your peaceful camping trip suddenly turned into a nightmare? These are the most disturbing camping encounters ever caught on camera, and they'll leave you questioning what's lurking in the woods. Today, we've got something that'll make you rethink your next camping adventure. From eerie sounds to chilling sightings, we're diving into some of the creepiest encounters that happened out in the wild. Trust me, you won't want to miss this.
Hey, it clearly says do not enter. Why did they do that?
Yeah, why did they go through?
They literally walked to it, then
To the
turned
sign?
around. Yeah, and then came back.
They didn't walk over. Is there any tracks on the other side? No, there isn't.
Huh. Maybe they were putting the sign up?
That one looks old.
Kinda,
Like
yeah.
it looks weathered.
Angelo, a seasoned explorer known for his fearless nature, was once again setting off into the unknown, this time with his companion Bob.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new adventure, old place. We are back at the Happy Valley Tract, which so far we found that there's nothing really happy about this place late at night. It gets really spooky. It's definitely haunted, I have to say.
They had ventured down a forgotten trail, surrounded by a forest so eerily quiet that the crackle of their fire was almost unsettling. Despite the warmth from the flames, the air was cold, and the woods seemed to hold their breath.
Where's Bob?
What?
Oh, Bob is over there. What the I thought he was standing right here.
The
Yeah, I literally thought...
I didn't even see him anymore.
I thought I heard someone walking there for a second, and then I looked this way. He's not even there.
Angelo couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. He had spotted a strange flash of light deeper in the forest earlier, but he wasn't sure if it was his mind playing tricks, or perhaps just Bob, who was somewhere in the vicinity. The tension in the air thickened as Angelo's unease grew.
What is that? Hear that?
Yeah.
That's no tree. That sounded like somebody was stepping in the snow.
Yeah.
Suddenly, a sound broke the silence. Footsteps, the unmistakable crunch of snow underfoot, echoed through the otherwise still night. Angelo's heart skipped a beat as he asked himself if it was just the trees creaking or something more sinister. Bob tried to joke it off, suggesting they were hearing things, but the unease in the air was palpable. As the two men jogged around the fire, trying to shake off the creeping sense of dread, they couldn't ignore the feeling that they weren't alone in the woods. Angelo rummaged through his gear, momentarily distracted, but even as he searched, the eerie presence of the forest never left his mind. The fire flickered, casting long, unsettling shadows across the landscape. Angelo announced it was time to pack up. The scare in the air seemed to settle even further as they began to walk down the trail.
Hey, it clearly says do not enter. Why did they do that?
Yeah, why did they go through?
They literally walked to it, then
To the
turned
sign?
around. Yeah, and then came back.
They didn't walk over. Is there any tracks on the other side? No, there isn't.
Huh. Maybe they were putting the sign up?
That one looks old.
Kinda,
Like
yeah.
it looks weathered.
Only to stumble upon an old sign warning them not to enter. It was weathered and cracked, but the message was still clear. It wasn't just the sign that unsettled them, though. It was the fresh footprints in the snow surrounding it. Someone had passed, and then seemingly turned back. Something didn't sit right with either of them, but Angelo, ever the skeptic, dismissed it as one of those things. Yet as they pushed forward, the atmosphere grew even more suffocating, and the silence was shattered by a laugh. It was unnatural, cold and hollow, echoing from all around them. Bob froze, his eyes wide with terror, while Angelo's heart began to race. There was no denying it. Something was in those woods, and it wasn't friendly. Without another word, they bolted, the laugh trailing them as they hurried back to the safety of the car. As they drove away, the unsettling feeling of being followed lingered in the air. Neither of them would forget the terrifying, mysterious encounter they just had.
This place is in very different condition from what I remember many years ago. It's rough. I think it caught on fire at one point, and it's been very deteriorated and damaged, and it's also very haunted.
Years later, Angelo found himself standing once again before a place that had haunted his memories.
This is probably one of the very first locations. I came with a guy, I don't remember his name anymore. He just kind of disappeared off the face of the planet. And yeah, I'm here with the boys. Carlo, Mo's off exploring somewhere.
The ruins of an abandoned children's hospital. It was a location he had explored many years ago with an old companion who had since vanished without a trace. The building loomed in front of him, charred and decaying from an old fire. Despite its ruin, the memories of his first investigation here were still fresh in his mind. Now, joined by Carlo, a seasoned explorer, Angelo set foot inside the crumbling structure once again. The smell of charred wood and dust filled the air as they moved deeper into the building, where the walls seemed to whisper of neglect and destruction. This place, Angelo knew, had a history, one filled with unexplained events and the lingering presence of something malevolent. As he and Carlo ventured deeper into the building, the eeriness of the place seemed to grow stronger with each step. Angelo's voice lowered as he spoke about the place's haunted reputation. The hospital had burned years ago, but the spirits of those who had passed seemed to remain, trapped in the ruins. As they made their way through the wreckage, Angelo couldn't shake the sense of déjà vu, the strange feeling that he had been here before. The building seemed alive in a way that couldn't be explained. Every creak of the wood and every shift in the air sent a chill down his spine. The investigation began to feel less like exploration and more like a warning.
Let's go up there and see what it looks like. Oh yeah, you can see all the soot from when it was on fire. I remember coming here shortly while after this place caught fire, and that's the result of the damage. The floors actually look pretty solid though.
In one of the rooms, Angelo found an old balcony, its surfaces covered in soot. The memories came rushing back, his first time here, so full of curiosity. But now the place felt much more sinister. It wasn't just abandoned, it was inhabited by something dark.
Hello? Heard something back there. Something moved. Someone back there? I know Mo is downstairs.
Without warning, a shift in the air made Angelo freeze. He called out into the darkness, but his voice was swallowed by the oppressive silence.
Well, I was just hearing some weird sounds up there as if somebody was like moving around, but I checked literally twice in the exact same spot where I heard it from. Nothing. There's no one there.
And Carlo, you were down here?
Yeah, he's been down here the entire time. He's been...
Want to come downstairs?
Sure.
The temperature dropped, and a strange pressure seemed to envelop him, pushing him back against a gate. Heart racing, he scrambled to his feet, trying to make sense of what had just happened. Carlo, still downstairs, was unaware of the disturbance, but Angelo's instincts were on high alert. The building, it seemed, was not entirely empty. They moved deeper into the basement, where the tension mounted. The sense of being watched grew overwhelming, and Angelo felt an unseen force shove him hard. Fear rippled through him as he realized that whatever was in this place didn't want them here. The malfunctioning equipment only added to the sense that something was terribly wrong.
You okay?
No, I just like heard like footsteps directly behind you. What the was that? What the happened?
Then, as if to underscore their terror, a loud crash echoed from above. Angelo's heart pounded in his chest as he exchanged a glance with Carlo. Without hesitation, they turned to leave, the dark presence of the building still pressing down on them. Their exit was hurried, and as they made their way out, neither spoke much, each lost in the gravity of the experiences they had just endured. Whatever had been lurking within those decaying walls was still there, waiting for the next unwitting soul to cross its path. And so, Angelo's investigation ended much like it began, with more questions than answers, and a lingering sense of unease that would follow him for years to come. CJ Faison is well known for owning haunted properties all across the United States, his chilling videos gaining a reputation for being insanely scary and incredibly informative. With a deep fascination for the paranormal, CJ travels the country, visiting haunted locations and exploring eerie sites with his friends. But this particular adventure was unlike any other. The camping trip that was supposed to be a fun and adventurous getaway soon turned into a nightmare that neither CJ nor his friend Dylan will ever forget. The trip took them to one of the most terrifying forests in the country, The Pine Barrens, located in New Jersey. Known for its dark history, strange happenings, and eerie presence, the Pine Barrens has long been rumored to be haunted. Legends of shadowy figures, ghostly apparitions, and mysterious creatures that lurk in its depths have plagued the area for years. The camping areas surrounding the forest are no exception, with locals and explorers alike warning anyone who dares to visit about the eerie occurrences and unsettling feelings that tend to follow those who enter. CJ and Dylan, being seasoned ghost hunters, were ready to face whatever the night threw at them. But little did they know, they were about to uncover something far darker than they could have imagined.
Wonder what the hell happened to my truck. This poor thing, dude.
You wonder what this winter, and you wonder, what the hell is this whole thing all of a sudden? I don't know what that is.
To be honest with you, I don't have a clue.
Like, it's got like a little button on the bottom. Looks like it's Mr. Solar.
The first hint that things were going wrong came when they arrived at the abandoned bridge deep within the Pine Barrens. It was an old, decrepit structure, its wooden planks creaking and groaning in the wind. The moment they stepped onto the bridge, something didn't feel right. The hairs on the back of their necks stood up, and an uneasy silence seemed to envelop them. The forest around them felt thick and suffocating, as though it was alive and watching. It wasn't long before strange events started to unfold. A mysterious phone began ringing in the distance.
I'm more curious of why in the hell there's a phone ringing in the woods. Like, can you tell us that?
An unsettling sound that echoed through the trees, but there was no phone in sight, and no home or phone booth for miles. Just the deep, unyielding woods. Despite their attempts to locate the source, the ringing continued, adding a layer of tension to the already unnerving situation. As the night went on, things only got stranger. CJ noticed his camera's battery draining inexplicably, even though they had just charged it. The air grew heavier, and the feeling that something or someone was watching them intensified. The woods felt alive, as though unseen eyes were following their every move. Then came a voice, soft yet chilling, speaking words like sinister, woods, and path.
Sinister.
Sinister.
The woods.
The woods?
Empath, sinister woods.
I don't know about you doing. I feel really uncomfortable right now.
I mean, I feel like somebody's standing in the woods. That's what I was thinking in my head before it said empath, sinister woods.
The dread was palpable, as they both realized they were not alone in these woods, and whatever it was, it didn't want them there. What followed next was enough to make anyone question their sanity. A loud sound, like something hitting a sign nearby, sent their hearts into overdrive.
Because sinister woods, 3 a.m. Is it trying to say there's like some ritual or something at 3 a.m.?
I don't know. I mean, we got $4 out here. We're gonna see.
Shit!
Fuck that.
Dylan jumped back, feeling as though something had brushed past him, unseen and unfathomable. They were on edge, paranoid and terrified.
Dylan, my soul just left my body.
Dude, what the f was that?
I'm gonna look back on that footage, but that sign right there, I'm 99.999% sure something hit that sign.
A voice came again, this time speaking of a disaster and a hex, as though warning them to leave before it was too late.
Tell me what that noise was. Was that something hitting that sign? Because that was
Disaster.
disaster. Okay, is a disaster gonna happen if we stay out here or something? Like, what are you trying to tell us right now?
Timer's down to the last 2 minutes of battery. Already.
Unreal. Highway. What time it is here? I'm telling you. Hex. H-E-X. What's that mean?
Dylan, who had once been skeptical about the supernatural, now questioned everything as the tension became too much to ignore. The air was thick with fear, and it was clear that whatever presence lingered in the woods didn't like being provoked. The sense of danger became too much to bear, and they decided to leave the bridge behind. But the terror didn't end there. As they returned to their campsite, the night seemed to hold even more surprises in store. CJ mounted a camera on the side of his truck, setting up a light to improve visibility.
Like, usually by now, we've seen or heard from somebody. You know what I mean? You've felt the presence of somebody, or, you know, whatever the case might be. What the hell is that?
He had heard rumors of feral people, known as pinyers, who were said to hide behind trees and watch unsuspecting campers. These creatures, though never fully proven to exist, had terrified locals for years. The warnings about the Pine Barrens weren't just tales to scare children. There were stories of unexplained occurrences and strange sightings that made even the bravest people think twice before venturing into the heart of the forest. The cold air settled around them as they made their way back to the campsite, the darkness growing thicker by the minute. CJ's voice cracked as he tried to make light of the situation.
All right, scream if you need me.
"All right, scream if you need me," he said, attempting to keep his nerves in check.
Yeah, you won't hear me. I'm on the other side of the forest, so.
"You won't hear me, I'm on the other side." Dylan wasn't in the mood for jokes. The eerie atmosphere weighed on him, and he quickly retreated to his car for warmth, leaving CJ to set up the camera alone. As CJ fiddled with the equipment, he remarked on the stillness of the night.
We've not really seen or heard anyone, so
"We haven't really seen or heard anyone so far," he said, his words full of uncertainty.
Usually by now we've seen or heard from somebody. You know what I mean? You've felt the presence of somebody, or, you know, whatever the case might be.
But usually by now we'd feel the presence of something or someone. But before he could finish his thought, something caught his eye. "What the hell?" he muttered under his breath.
What the hell is that? Alright, I don't know, that was weird. I thought I saw a reflection, but I don't know.
A strange reflection shimmered in the distance. He couldn't tell if it was just his mind playing tricks on him or if something truly unnatural was in the woods. He couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a car slowly drove past their campsite. The vehicle crawled by, its headlights faint in the distance. It was a strange, slow movement, like the driver wanted them to see it. "Hello?"
Hello?
CJ called out into the void,
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, what?
hoping for an answer. "Yo, can you hear me?" "Yeah, dude, I just had a random car pass by my campsite."
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, what?
Dude, I just had a random car pass by my campsite.
Dylan's response came quickly, his voice filled with confusion. "Same here, bro. I saw that car too. What the hell are they doing out here?"
Bro, same here. I just saw that car.
Dude, what the hell are they doing back here? There's been nobody back here all night.
"There's been nobody back here all night." The appearance of the car, moving so slowly and with no clear purpose, unnerved them both. It was a desolate stretch of road, far from any civilization. Why would someone be driving here at this hour? The eerie silence that followed only deepened the sense of unease.
I'm not really sure, but that was weird. Dude, I heard a car and I'm like, this is not right. I don't know. That didn't settle well with me.
"Yeah, I don't know what that was," CJ admitted, his voice trembling. "I heard a car and it just didn't seem right." From that point on, things started spiraling into full-blown terror. They heard sounds.
What's that noise?
Soft, eerie noises like twigs snapping and branches rustling. The air seemed thick with something invisible, and they both felt as though they weren't alone. The oppressive atmosphere of the forest had begun to feel alive with unseen forces.
I'm hearing all kinds of stuff over here, though, dude. I'm legit, kind of freaking myself out.
I keep hearing stuff, man," CJ said, trying to make sense of it all.
Spirit talker told me that was going to make a noise and a stick broke, and I was like, is that coincidence? Is that real? Like...
My spear talker said there'd be a noise and then a stick broke. Is that a coincidence? Or is something actually happening? The overwhelming sensation of being watched was too much for either of them to ignore. They couldn't see outside their tents, and the noises only grew louder. It felt like the night was closing in around them, suffocating them with its sinister presence. Dylan, ever the skeptic, finally admitted the truth. "I didn't even bring a sleeping bag," he said, his voice shaky.
I was for a sleeping bag, so it's going to be really cold.
You forgot a sleeping bag?
I did, yeah. So
Bro, what are you even sleeping on in there?
The ground.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm going to put my hood up and hopefully stay warm enough.
Oh my gosh.
"I'm just on the ground. I'm gonna freeze." CJ couldn't help but laugh, trying to lighten the mood. "Of course you didn't bring one. I figured you wouldn't. If I had one, I'd give it to you."
Dylan, if I had another one, dude, I'd give it to you.
Dylan's reply was hesitant.
I figured you did, and it's fine. I'm just like, of course, like, that'd be my luck.
"I'll be fine, but man, I keep feeling like someone's watching me." The air was growing colder by the minute, and the sense of dread only intensified. They tried to get some sleep, but the fear gnawed at them both. They lay awake, listening to every rustle and crackle in the night, too terrified to close their eyes. "Good luck out there, man," CJ said finally, trying to sound calm.
If anything else happens, man, just give me a call, alright?
Alright, man. Good night.
Alright, night, dude.
"If anything happens, just give me a call." "I will," Dylan replied, his voice filled with unease. Night, man. The night seemed endless as they lay in their tents, unable to shake the feeling of being watched. Every small sound was magnified in the silence, and the weight of the forest's presence was nearly suffocating. Finally, the first light of dawn began to filter through the trees. CJ awoke to the sound of birds chirping, the promise of a new day creeping in. "That was a bird," CJ muttered to himself.
Oh, that was a bird.
Trying to convince himself it had all been a bad dream, but deep down he knew better. The car, the strange sounds, the feeling of being watched, they weren't just figments of his imagination. Something dark had been with them in the Pine Barrens that night, and it hadn't gone away. As the sun began to rise, CJ couldn't help but wonder if the worst was over, or if something even darker was waiting for them in the woods. Devin, an urban explorer, has always been captivated by forgotten, historic, and abandoned buildings. His passion is rooted in the desire to explore and appreciate the history that these structures carry. Rather than focusing on popular landmarks, he seeks out lesser-known places that once held great significance, and through his explorations, he shares the memories of these spaces with others. Stepping into these forgotten buildings allows him to connect with the past and understand the stories they hold, often uncovering the hidden histories that would otherwise remain untold.
You see how magical this tree is? I had to start the video here. This is rumored to be the oldest tree in Pennsylvania. This sycamore tree is north of Harrisburg, but we are stopping here to take a look at this enormous sycamore tree because honestly, I don't think I've seen a bigger tree on the East Coast than this. I mean, take a look at the size difference between me and this tree.
On this particular night, Devin found himself in an abandoned tower set high above the ground, surrounded by the sounds of the wind howling and the sheets of metal creaking with every gust. The structure itself felt alive, responding to the wind's force. This wasn't an ordinary camping trip. It was a challenge, a test of endurance and connection with a place long forgotten by time.
I have to admit to you guys, this is my first time camping, solo. I guess this is full-blown camping. In the past, I've went camping, if you've watched, inside an abandoned asylum. I was accompanied by a friend. Tonight, I'm accompanied by my own thoughts and my paranoia of the woods. So, This is the first time.
Devin had set up a small camp inside the tower, making it as comfortable as possible under the circumstances. He had his cooking stove ready, a hammock set up in case the wind became too much, and an air mattress inflating slowly. He wasn't going to let the elements or the eerie sounds of the night dissuade him from his mission. The wind was relentless, but the tower itself stood firm. Though the metal sheets on the outside were rocking, causing a lot of noise, the structure didn't seem to move as a whole. Devin was confident the tower had withstood storms much worse than this over the years. The quiet hum of the wind and the sound of the stove heating water for his dinner helped him focus on the present moment, trying to forget the eerie feelings of the night.
As our water heats up, I'm going to be opening this pad thai with chicken. I've never had an MRE before, but it's kind of hard finding ones that are actually edible according to the internet, because if you have a red meat or pork allergy, really you have limitations. So I'm trying this pad thai with chicken. I'm going to give my honest review, but first I need to take out the oxygen absorber. Just by looking at this dry and smelling it, it smells amazing.
Devin's dinner for the night was pad thai with chicken. It was a simple, warming meal. Rice noodles with white meat chicken, peppers, green beans, and carrots. He knew that finding decent food options for camping in the wild, especially when he had dietary restrictions, could be tricky. But he was satisfied with this choice. It wasn't the fanciest meal, but it would do the job and fill him up. As he waited for the water to heat, Devin couldn't help but appreciate the challenge of spending the night in such a forgotten. There was something deeply humbling about staying in a place with so much history, so many stories, so much life had passed through its walls. The thought that others had slept in this very tower before him, as mentioned in reviews he had found online, provided some comfort. Knowing he wasn't the first to brave this space made the experience feel less daunting, even though the night was bound to be filled with uncertainty and discomfort. Once the water was hot, Devin prepared his meal, savoring the moment of calm amidst the wind's constant noise. It was a time to center himself, to focus on the simple tasks at hand, and to appreciate the peace that came from being alone in a forgotten structure like this one. The hammock swayed gently in the breeze, and Devin knew that sleep wouldn't be easy tonight. The wind had already started to shake the tower, and the metal sheet would make sure of that.
I hope the wind isn't too bad, but we're finally up here after about 2 hours of walking and hiking. Holy crap. Wow, this thing shakes a lot.
He prepared himself for a restless night, but the experience itself was worth the discomfort. The sunrise, he thought, would make it all worth it. The view from the tower in the morning, with the first light of day breaking over the forgotten landscape, was something to look forward to. Devin adjusted his air mattress, trying to make himself as comfortable as possible. There wasn't much to his temporary setup, but he had everything he needed: warmth, food, and a place to rest his head. Despite the noise and the unsettling feeling of the wind whistling through the tower, he was determined to make it through the night. After all, that's what urban exploration was about: embracing the challenge, experiencing history firsthand, and pushing through the discomfort to connect with the past in a way few others could. As the night grew darker, Devin tried to stay calm, reminding himself that the journey he was on was one of discovery. The wind outside was howling, but inside the tower, he could focus on the small victories: his meal, the warmth, and the sense of connection with a place long forgotten. Tomorrow would bring light, and with it the reward of seeing the world from a new perspective. But for now, he lay back and tried to ignore the unsettling sounds that filled the air.
Alright, now it's time to really get comfortable. My food is stirred. This should almost be ready to eat. I might have put a little bit too much water in it, so I might have to drain it. But I got my sleeping bag. I took a little bit of layers off because I want to be cold. I want to have a reason to snuggle up in here. But it's going to get as low as 38 tonight. Could be lower with the wind.
The groan of the tower, the rattling of the metal, and the occasional gust of wind that made the whole structure shake. Even though he knew sleep would be difficult, the adventure was worth it. And in the morning, the view from the tower would make everything worth the struggle. In the solitude of the tower, Devin felt a deep sense of peace and a quiet excitement for the days to come. Despite the discomfort, the eerie winds, and the cold that seeped into his bones, he knew he was living in the moment, experiencing the past firsthand, one forgotten structure at a time. And that, for Devin, was what made it all worthwhile. As the hours passed, the wind gradually died down. By 3 a.m., the howling winds had settled to a mere whisper, allowing Devin to relax a little. He managed to find a comfortable spot lying on his side and eventually managed to fall asleep for a couple of hours. However, he woke up a few times, needing to make trips to the bathroom. It's always more difficult when you're outdoors, as the cold intensifies the need to go. But despite the discomfort, he continued to wait for the sun to rise, listening to some podcasts to keep his mind at ease.
All right, so it is 6 a.m. We have about an hour and a half until the sun comes up. Out of like 7 hours, I probably slept about 4. Not too bad, honestly. I feel pretty well rested. The wind was very, very, very strong up until about 3 in the morning, and then it died down. Since then, it's been at 1 mile an hour, and it has been so smooth.
By 6 a.m., Devin was awake. He had slept for about 4 hours, not too bad considering the circumstances. The wind had calmed down to just 1 minth, and the structure he was in was no longer shaking. He spent the morning packing up, relaxing, and watching as the sun began to peek over the horizon.
All right, the sun has finally came across the horizon. I'm just packing up, waiting for the sun to come up a little more while I do some time lapses. It's a really beautiful sight.
It was still early, but the view from the tower was breathtaking. The darkness gradually receded, revealing the surrounding mountain peaks and a huge reservoir just beyond the camera's frame. The sight of the sun rising over the valley illuminating the fall foliage was unlike anything Devin had ever witnessed.
Well, I'll tell you what, this place is a little bit more scary in the daytime because now I could actually see the way down. So, I definitely recommend coming at night.
He had woken up to countless views in his travels, but this one felt special, surreal. As he packed his things and prepared to leave, he reflected on how many people had left behind their memories in this very place. A list of names from past visitors, some marking their presence every time they returned, was scrawled on the walls. The panoramic view around him was mesmerizing. He could see the Appalachian Mountains in the distance, and the changing colors of the leaves in the valley below were a reminder of the beauty of nature, even in such a forgotten, abandoned place. But there were also signs of neglect. The metal grates beneath him moved, and some of the wood he had slept on had holes in it. The tower had been unmaintained since the 1970s, and it was clear that the structure had seen better days. Despite these flaws, Devin felt at peace. The quiet solitude of the morning, the sounds of the world waking up, and the reminder of how nature endures through it all left him feeling grounded.
These metal grates beneath me, a lot of them move. The actual wood that I slept on last night, you can now see the holes I was talking about. You can see right through it right there and right over there. Just have a couple of sheets or a few sheets of plywood, but underneath it there are reinforced steel that goes all across it, and I slept pretty good. But quite the view we have today. It's probably going to be another 30 minutes until we have this entire valley covered with its fall foliage. You can see the little bit of yellows and oranges peeking out.
It was a good way to reset after the chaos of life. The tower had given him the space to reflect on his journey, not just as an urban explorer, but as someone trying to reconnect with the world outside of technology and everyday distractions. It was a reset for his mind, body, and soul. Packing up his gear, Devin left the tower behind, knowing he'd be back to explore other forgotten spaces in the future. As he made his way down, he looked back at the tower one last time, grateful for the experience. It had been a challenge, but it was one that would stay with him forever. Omar Gosh TV is known for taking some pretty wild adventures to some of the scariest places you can imagine. His channel is full of terrifying ghost hunting experiences, even though he's not a professional paranormal investigator. But that doesn't stop him from exploring haunted asylums, creepy hospitals, and spooky houses. The goal is always the same: to capture some of the craziest paranormal activity and share it with all of us, the viewers.
So I am almost at my location, which is also known as the Conjuring Cabin. This guy's a little close. Okay, I might be into some drama on my way here. Go around me. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. They're really freaking close. This door, oh my God, they just disappeared. They just disappeared.
The best part is, even though the content is genuinely scary, it's also family friendly, so you get all the chills without any worries. Sometimes Omar also reacts to other creepy ghost footage found online, giving his take on the scariest videos out there.
Okay. Yo! Who's over there? There's nobody in here. Yo, you left your truck!
But here's a big tip from Omar. Don't try this at home. Some of these places can be really dangerous, and you wouldn't want to end up in a real-life horror movie. Now, let's talk about one of his latest adventures at a place known as the Conjuring Cabin. It's a location with a terrifying backstory that goes way back. You're going to want to hear this. This all starts back in 1839 with a guy named Richard Myers, who was a successful banker. He was eager to build his dream home in rural Georgia, so he bought a piece of land that seemed perfect for the house he always wanted. But there was one little problem. The land was known to be cursed. Why? Because it sat over unmarked graves. Not exactly the ideal foundation for a new home, right? But Richard wasn't deterred. Despite the warnings, he decided to go ahead with construction, even going as far as moving some of the human remains to a spot across the street in an effort to appease the spirits. The building went up, but from the moment Richard and his family moved in, strange things started happening. It wasn't long before things got downright terrifying. Richard tried everything he could think of to deal with the bad energy. He even had a local pastor come to bless the house, but instead of things calming down, it only seemed to anger whatever spirits were lurking. And then, a lightning strike hit the house. The house was destroyed, and Richard lost his life in the process. His family quickly fled, never to return. After that, the land stayed abandoned for years. Eventually, another family moved in, eager to start fresh in the place where the original house had stood. But as you can probably guess, their experience was eerily similar. They too were tormented by the same dark forces. Eventually, they begged for the house to be destroyed. But the entity haunting the basement wasn't satisfied. It continued to haunt the house, seeking revenge on anyone who dared to live there. Fast forward to the present day, and Omar and his team are on their way to visit this haunted location.
It's creepy as looking, bro.
I don't know, I think it's all right. I think it looks like a nice, cute little cabin. We get up to the front and I'm kind of downplaying things.
We came here not really knowing what to expect.
Maybe we're at the wrong place.
They're a little unsure of what to expect, but based on the stories, they know they're in for something pretty intense. As Omar pulls up to the place, something strange happens. There's a truck parked too close to his vehicle, and for a second, he almost thinks he's about to get into some kind of confrontation.
Okay. Yo! Who's over there?
But the truck drives away, and then something even weirder happens. The truck just disappears. Talk about an unsettling start. Omar gets out of the car and immediately the vibe of the place feels off. As he steps onto the porch, he hears a loud bang coming from inside the house.
What from the stories? I know you heard that.
Dude, was that inside?
Yeah.
The team freezes and looks at each other, not knowing whether this is some sort of ghostly greeting or a warning not to enter. It's a weird moment that leaves them all on edge. Then, Omar makes a pretty funny comment about how the house looks like a cute little cabin on the outside. He's trying to downplay it, but as they make their way inside, things start to get real. Almost as soon as they walk in, a chair in the dining room drags out into the hallway with an eerie scraping noise.
pretty dark.
Nuh-uh. Some furniture over there just slid.
Omar and his friends are all freaking out. This place is definitely not as peaceful as it looks. As Omar and the crew continue to explore, they come across a few. First, they find a strange substance in the shape of a heart on the floor, which looks like blood, not candle wax or food. It's a detail that definitely stands out.
Yo, that looks like blood, bro.
That doesn't look like,
that looks like
candle
blood.
wax or food.
It's in shape of a heart. You see that?
Yeah, that's weird.
And if that wasn't enough, they spot a door leading to the basement, where the dark entity is said to reside. Now, here's where things get even weirder. There's a line of salt at the bottom of the door. Omar isn't sure what this is meant to do, but from his experience, salt is often used to ward off spirits. However, it doesn't seem to be working in this case. The entity is still active.
When Omar told us that there was a door leading to a basement in the house that the family had locked and threw away the key.
What's more, there's a two-way deadbolt on the door, and they're told the family who lived here locked the door and threw away the key to keep whatever was inside from getting out. Then, as they continue to investigate, they find claw marks on the door. Yes, actual scratch marks. This is the kind of thing they've seen before, and it's never a good sign.
Hey, check it.
What? Oh, there's scratch marks.
There's
Look at
like
this.
claw marks and shit.
Bro, this is for real, bro. This is for real.
Oh no, we've seen some shit like this before, and it's not good.
You know what's crazy too? I mean, a lot of people miss stuff like this, but these doors are crosses.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's true.
I miss stuff like that.
It's at this point that Omar realizes how serious this situation is. Yo, this is for real, bro, Omar says, clearly unsettled. And he's right to be. They also notice something a little strange. The door to the room has crosses carved into it. That's a red flag for anyone who knows anything about the paranormal. And sure enough, right after they notice the crosses, the camera starts glitching. The interference is real, and it adds to the tension. The tension in the house builds as they continue their investigation. They learn about a terrifying experience one family had in this house. A baby's room was the source of some of the most disturbing activity. The parents would go in to check on their child, only to find her covered in sweat, despite the room being freezing cold.
Sometimes I would lay her down for naps, and when I would go to check in on her, it looked like there was two babies. And I'd get closer, and it was just gone. The night that was the last straw for us, I woke up to my baby frantically screaming again. This time was scarier. There was what looked like a woman, all dressed in black, hunched over my daughter's crib.
But it gets even weirder. Sometimes when the parents would lay the baby down for a nap, they would come back and swear they saw two babies in the crib. But when they got closer, one of them would be gone. The final straw came one night when the mother was woken up by her baby screaming. When she rushed to the crib, she saw a woman in black hunched over the baby. The woman looked her dead in the eye before disappearing into a black mist. That was it. The family packed up and left without taking anything from the house. As Omar and the team venture further into the house, they get more and more freaked out. At one point, Omar even sits in a chair that seems to have been inviting him to sit. "You're in my space now," Omar says, jokingly.
We're pretty scared when we walked up here, right?
Yeah.
Didn't feel very welcome.
Hey, sorry, did you just hear like a scratch noise?
I heard
swear,
something,
I just heard a sound that sounded like fingernails drag.
All right, look, we're getting way too paranoid. We haven't been here that long.
But the team is seriously spooked at this point, especially with the sound of something scratching at the door. They head upstairs to a kid's room, and the atmosphere is still tense. They even try using a spirit box to communicate, and it's clear something is there.
Foot! Did you hear it said foot?
I just said
that
foot.
said foot. I don't see no foot under there.
As they run the device, the word foot comes through loud and clear, followed by a chilling vision of what looks like a white foot appearing beneath the bed. The team is freaked out.
So I had this wild idea to split up 3 ways at 3 o'clock in the morning. Because there's a lot happening pretty much all over this house right now.
Yeah.
What if, let me see, what time is it? It's 2:45 right now. About 15 minutes, 3 o'clock, the witching hour.
Yeah.
Supposedly that's when things really pop
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like this place is active regardless.
and they immediately want to. The scariest part of the night comes when they split up to investigate different parts of the house at 3 a.m., the witching hour. Omar heads outside to explore the graveyard, where unmarked graves are scattered all over. It's incredibly eerie being out there alone, especially as the spirit box starts picking up names like Tim and Kelly.
I just saw a flash of light back there. There's like a light flickering over there.
Kelly, hey.
I was out here by myself, and this is the first building that was built over all of the unmarked graves. So the second I even start mentioning it, my obelisk kicks out Tim, Kelly, and Harry.
Possibly the spirits of those, but things take an even darker turn when Omar hears a growl. Something that sounds like it's coming right for him. He quickly decides to head back inside to meet up with the rest of the team. The growl alone was enough to send chills down his spine.
I'm just gonna be quiet for a minute and see if I can hear anything on camera. Okay, no. That sounded like something just growled at me. I'm good. That was like close, and it sounded like a fucking growl. I'm straight.
If any of you are trying to startle me or you're trying to communicate with me, I can hear you moving over there.
Back inside, the team tries to make sense of what happened. But as Omar and his crew regroup, something strange happens. The Jenga game in the corner is knocked over, like something or someone was playing with it. Finally, as Omar and the crew prepare to leave, they hear something that's even more terrifying.
Something looked like it was looking around that doorway right there.
You saw something?
Yeah.
Come out! Come out right now! What just happened? Dude, look, the door!
I'm leaving.
The sound of footsteps running down the stairs, followed by a rush of energy that literally knocks them off their feet. It's a powerful, otherworldly force that they've never experienced before. After everything that happened, Omar and the team are pretty shaken up. Omar is certain he won't be returning to that place anytime soon. The energy there was intense, and it felt like they either did something good or they made things worse.
I've been to 1,000 different places, super haunted places. I've never felt something feel like an explosion in my chest.
We've experienced phantom footsteps before. We've even experienced like charges of energy coming towards us, but nothing ever as powerful that is enough to knock 3 grown men on their ass. I will personally never, ever return to this place. Like this right now.
Whatever the case, Omar knows they've experienced something truly terrifying at the Conjuring cabin. In this episode of Moxley's Paranormal World, the team embarks on an eerie journey to investigate a haunted house nestled in the Scottish mountains. The place has built quite a reputation for being one of the most haunted locations in the area, with people reporting everything from shadow figures to unexplained voices and other strange happenings. Moxley and his crew are eager to see what they can uncover, so they set out to explore this creepy and mysterious site. The team arrives at the bottom of a snowy mountain where they have to park their car and make their way through thick trees to get to the house. It's already freezing cold, and the atmosphere feels thick with tension as they approach the old, crumbling structure.
Look at this. Just coming into view there. Let's take a walk up and see if we can capture any of the hauntings that have been reported.
Moxley immediately points out how sinister the house looks. It looks like something out of a classic horror movie, he says. You can tell he's excited but also a little on edge as they move closer to the house. Once they reach the house, Moxley can't help but admire how old and decaying the place is. The house stands alone on the side of the mountain, far from any other homes. It's like something straight out of a horror story, and the team is ready to uncover its secrets.
Hauntings, people have come up, took a couple of pictures, just saying, we've seen stuff, we've heard stuff.
Yeah.
This place is haunted, go check it out. If you're in Scotland, go check it out. for yourself and see what you can capture.
Yeah,
so
that's why we're here, isn't it? So
here we are.
Moxley explains that there have been numerous reports of strange occurrences here, including sightings of shadow figures and eerie sounds, which is exactly why they've come. The first stop on their exploration is the outbuildings around the house. There are a few old fridges, a dartboard, and other items that look like they've been left behind for years. The snow is falling steadily, adding to the chill in the air. The team finds a window that's incredibly low to the ground, and Moxley points out the unusual design of the buildings. "Look at this," he says. "The window's so low, it's like it was made for a smaller person." They keep moving, taking in the decaying structures around them. As they make their way inside the main house, the feeling of being watched intensifies. The interior is cold and there's no central heating, which makes sense given the house's remote location. The furniture left behind seems frozen in time. An old TV, a radio, a bucket of coal, things that seem to speak of a past long gone. Moxley remarks,
"Look at these outbuildings. Chair sat there, an old fridge, freezer there. A few pots and pans are flying around. But look at that. So many outbuildings to it."
You can tell this place never had central heating, especially being up here on the mountain. While exploring, they find one room that seems especially spooky, with a wardrobe that catches their attention.
Is that? Oh, it's a wardrobe. I thought it was another door. Like a secret door. Won't budge. Just a wardrobe. But yeah, like I say, we're here more for a paranormal investigation because of what we've been told about the place. We weren't too far away from it, so it made sense to come out, check it out.
Moxley wonders if there could be a hidden door behind it, but upon closer inspection, it's just a wardrobe. As they move to the upper floors, the team gets a real sense of the house's history. The rooms are small, but they have fireplaces, likely the only source of warmth in this chilly house. "Look at this fireplace," Moxley says. "No wonder they didn't have central heating."
Look at this. Every room's got a fireplace in. Understandable, because there wouldn't be any central heating, like I was just saying.
As they continue to explore, things start to get strange. Moxley decides to pull out some equipment to see if they can make contact with any spirits. He holds up a K2 meter, a device that detects electromagnetic fields, and asks, "If there's anybody here, can you step forward and make this light flash?"
If there's anybody here, do you want to step forward? If you can see me, I've got the K2 device in my hand. Can make that flash to any other colour to indicate that you're here. By holding my hand. That'd be brilliant. People have said they've seen you.
The meter responds, flickering in different colors as if to indicate a presence. "That's fantastic," Moxley says, clearly excited. But then, things get even stranger. The K2 meter flashes again and they hear a voice, an EVP, electronic voice phenomenon, that says, "Vanished. It's a creature."
Just to indicate that you're here. Oh, thank you. That is fantastic. Can you step away from that for me, please? That is a step. Thank you so much.
This cryptic message leaves the team stunned. Moxley and his team are puzzled by the strange words and try to make sense of what they've heard. "What do you mean by vanished?" Moxley asks. "What happened? What is this creature?" But no one can answer, and the room becomes heavy with unease. It feels like something, or someone, is trying to communicate with them. But the team is unsure of what to make of it. As they continue to investigate, Moxley starts to feel the physical effects of being in the house. His back aches, and one of his arms feels heavy. "My bones. It's like my back's aching," he says. The team wonders if this is somehow connected to the spirit they've been speaking to. They ask again, "Is this your home? Are you still here?" But the atmosphere grows quiet, as if whatever is present has retreated.
I've heard there's something here that likes to scare people Yeah, I can't catch my breath, mate. Every time I try to say that, we heard there's something here that likes to scare people out, make its presence known.
Moxley, undeterred, pulls out more equipment, hoping to make contact again. As they try more EVP sessions, they start to hear more strange noises, including what sounds like someone speaking behind them. Moxley is certain he hears a voice right behind him and says, "Did you speak then?" He's clearly spooked, but it's hard to tell if it's just the wind or something more. The team continues to use their devices, but the responses grow quieter as the night progresses.
Wait, what was that? You got a hit? Somebody stood in the corner. You got a hit then? Yeah. Come back. Were you watching us from the corner all along?
After a while, Moxley decides to try using a spirit box, a device known to help spirits communicate more directly. The team waits for a response, but it's eerily quiet. "It's like whatever was here has drained all its energy," Moxley says, clearly disappointed. Despite the lack of clear communication, the energy in the house still feels oppressive and heavy. But then, something strange happens. As Moxley and his team are speaking, they notice a reddish light flash across the room. "Wait a minute, I just saw something," Moxley says, turning to his teammate. "A red light, right there, over there." What was that? The team is confused. Could it be one of their lights? Or is it something paranormal?
People have seen stuff.
Yeah. You can tell. What?
Mate, I'm not joking.
Go on.
I just seen.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a shadow.
Yeah.
It was like a reddish, like dark, like it went like that at the top, and it went top, and it went
right
over there.
Right.
I'm sorry. Sit and talk.
I'm wondering.
The light disappears as quickly as it appeared, leaving them unsettled but determined to press on. As they continue to explore, Moxley and his team begin to wonder if the house holds any secrets about its past. They hear more strange noises, and one of the investigators mentions feeling like they've been watched. Moxley picks up on the tension and says, "I swear I heard a voice right behind me." The atmosphere feels heavy and they all sense that something is there, but it's hard to explain what. When the team reviews their footage later, they hear a faint "yes" on the EVP recording at the exact moment Moxley asks, "Did you speak then?"
Look there. I had to open that door.
Yeah.
Did you speak then?
I said yes.
No. Did you?
No.
Right, I need to check my footage. I need to check my footage back on that. You said that, but I know you said yes.
Yeah.
It's another unsettling moment that adds to the mystery of the place. As they prepare to leave, Moxley reflects on the night. "It's been a strange night," he says. "We didn't see any shadow figures, but I'm not convinced this place isn't haunted. The voice, the feeling, the strange light, it all adds up to something that's hard to explain." He wraps up the investigation, but it's clear that this place has left its mark on him and his team. Even though they didn't capture any full-on paranormal activity, the investigation was filled with strange moments and unexplained phenomena. The eerie feeling of being watched, the mysterious lights, and the unexplained voices all point to the fact that something is still lingering in the house. Whether it's the spirits of those who once lived there or something darker, the house remains a chilling mystery. The exploration of this haunted Scottish house left the team with more questions than answers. But one thing is certain, this place is not as empty as it seems. It's a strange and unsettling experience that will stick with them long after they've left. A seasoned gaming YouTuber decides to step outside his comfort zone and embrace a different kind of adventure. With the goal of creating content that aligns more with his age and evolving interests, he embarks on a hiking and exploration series.
I'm hiking out to a very remote little building called a bothy, which is a kind of building that can be found all over the Highlands.
This time, he's headed to the Scottish Highlands, where he's planning to spend the night in a remote historic cabin.
This place is giving me serious cabin in the woods vibes. You know, I've seen all them movies, Blair Witch, Evil Dead. Luckily there's no cellar and no trapdoor as far as I can tell. I'm not under any illusions that I'm going to get any sleep tonight, because once it gets dark out here, there's going to be absolutely
He invites his viewers to join him on this thrilling new journey, blending nature with a touch of the eerie.
So this bothy was the birthplace of a guy called James Stewart, also known as James of the Glen, and he was wrongfully accused and hung for a murder that he never committed.
The cabin he's staying in for the night is called Duror Bothy, nestled in the heart of Glen Duror Forest. The Bothy has a fascinating history, being known as the birthplace of James Stewart, a man who was wrongfully accused of murder and hanged for a crime he didn't commit in 1752. The dark history of this place gives it an eerie atmosphere, though our YouTuber isn't necessarily expecting to encounter anything supernatural. Still, there's something unsettling about the location's grim past, adding a bit of a spooky vibe to the experience. With his backpack heavy with logs for the fire, he begins the steep climb toward the Bothy, the weight of his gear making the trek even more challenging. The scenery around him is breathtaking, but the climb is taking its toll. Despite the exhaustion, there's excitement in the air as the Bothy draws nearer. Finally, after a long ascent, the roof of the cabin comes into view. The moment of truth has arrived. Will it be empty, or will someone else be there? To his relief, the Bothy is empty. He's alone, which only adds to the intensity of the adventure. The place is as remote as it gets, offering a sense of isolation that is both invigorating and unnerving. As he steps inside, he's hit with the rustic charm of the cabin. It's exactly what you'd expect from a mountain shelter. Simple, weather-beaten, and surrounded by the wild. Despite the ruggedness, there's a strange comfort in its solitude. The eerie cabin-in-the-woods vibe quickly settles in, and he starts to feel the weight of the history surrounding him.
I didn't want it to be, in complete darkness down here, so I've lit a few candles. Some lovely ambience there. That lights on the ceiling there is doing a great job.
After unpacking and getting settled, he focuses on getting the fire going. He's brought along some self-lighting logs, and once the fire starts crackling, the chill of the evening air is replaced with warmth. He's also lit a few candles around the cabin, setting a cozy yet atmospheric mood. His trusty tent light provides just enough illumination to make the place feel welcoming, but once the sun sets and the darkness envelops the forest outside, the isolation becomes more pronounced. There's no electricity in the Bothy, and aside from the firelight and candles, the place feels almost otherworldly. As darkness falls, the quiet of the Scottish Highlands becomes all-encompassing. The only sounds are the distant calls of stags and the rustling of the wind through the trees. It's both peaceful and unsettling, especially given the fact that he's alone in a remote location with no locks on the door. The latch is old and flimsy, offering little protection against any potential intruders, though the chances of anyone showing up here in the middle of nowhere seem slim. Still, the thought lingers in his mind as he settles in for the night. The fire continues to burn, casting flickering shadows across the room, and the candles provide a soft glow.
It turns out a local was saying that he was born in this vicinity or in this location. But he was hung in 1752, and I'm not entirely sure this building's been around that long.
The cabin is cozy, but there's an underlying tension that comes with being alone in such an isolated place. He reflects on the history of James Stewart, the man wrongfully executed for a murder he didn't commit. Though it's unclear if James was ever born in this very building, the area's connection to his tragic story adds a layer of eerie intrigue. The atmosphere of the Bothy, with its creaking wood and the isolation, certainly makes one wonder if the past has left any traces behind.
Not so good for going to sleep. So now I've just got 2 candles and the fireplace. Look. 2 candles on the table in the middle, fireplace still going well. Feeling nice and toasty. Hopefully my boots will dry out there on the floor.
With the fire crackling away and the wind howling outside, the YouTuber attempts to get some sleep, though he knows it won't be easy. The night feels unnaturally quiet, and every creak and crack in the cabin heightens his awareness. He's far from scared, but there's a tension in the air. The only thing that provides comfort is the warmth of the fire and the soft light of the candles. Even though he's alone, the experience is deeply immersive. The combination of the wilderness, the history, and the solitude makes it impossible not to feel connected to this place in some way. Throughout the night, strange sounds occasionally break the silence. A loud bang, likely from a plastic bottle shifting on the table, echoes through the cabin, startling him for a moment. The temperature fluctuations might be to blame, but with the eerie stillness of the night, even small noises seem amplified. He laughs it off, but can't help but wonder if something or someone is out there. It's now 2:40 a.m. and sleep remains elusive. He's restless, tossing and turning in his sleeping bag, but the quiet is so profound that it becomes unsettling. The fire eventually burns out and the cold begins to creep back into the room. Unable to sleep, he gets up and adds a log to the fire, hoping it will last through the night.
I wanted to just quickly show you this bothy book. So it's basically just where people put how their night went, talk about their stay, put the date in there, etc. so you know when they stayed. It's really nice. Mostly it's just people writing stuff, but look at this. Occasionally you get someone who goes the whole hog and does some fantastic...
As he does, he picks up the bothy book, a log where previous visitors have shared their experiences. It's a nice touch, a way to connect with the people who have stayed here before him. He leaves his own entry in the book, signing off with his YouTube channel name, just in case any curious adventurer stumbles across his video one day. The fire warms the room again, but outside the rain begins to fall. The peaceful sound of the raindrops on the roof adds to the atmosphere of the night. Still, the YouTuber can't help but feel a bit restless, especially when he hears the calls of the stags again in the distance.
Okay. As you can see, still very, very dark. Honestly, the shadows as well. And there's all this woodland here. That's probably where they are. Well, here's the burn.
He realizes that to get some fresh water, he'll have to venture outside in the dark. The thought of facing the wilderness alone is a little daunting, but the burn is close by and there's no other choice. With his torch in hand, he steps into the night. The surrounding forest is thick with shadows, and the beam of his torch only illuminates a small portion of the landscape. As he makes his way to the burn to refill his water bottle, he hears the faint calls of the stags again, sounding much closer now. The darkness feels more oppressive, but he keeps moving, determined to get the task done. Thankfully, nothing jumps out at him, and he's able to return to the bothy safely. As the night drags on, the YouTuber finally accepts that sleep isn't in the cards. But at least he's warm and dry, and the fire is still going. He passes the time by reflecting on the experience, grateful for the peace of the moment. The quiet of the Highlands, combined with the comfort of the fire, helps him to relax, even if sleep is still just out of reach.
Okay, so the sun's up now. I've swept the place. If anything, I think it looks a lot cleaner than when I first came.
By the time morning comes, he's packed up his gear, swept the bothy clean, and left it in better shape than he found it. The sun has risen, and it's time to head back down to the car, completing his first Highland adventure. There were no ghosts or mad axe murderers, but it was a thrilling, immersive experience nonetheless. He feels a sense of accomplishment, knowing he faced the night alone in the heart of the wilderness. As he hikes back down the mountain, he reflects on the experience. The isolation, the eerie ambiance, the connection to history. It was all more than he expected. It's an adventure he won't soon forget, and he's already planning the next one. He's excited to share more of these journeys with his audience and invites everyone to join him for future hikes. Who knows where he'll go next? One thing is for sure, it's going to be another unforgettable adventure. Well, that's it for today's video. Definitely some unsettling stuff, right? If you've had any creepy camping experiences yourself, drop them in the comments. Stay safe out there, and I'll catch you in the next one.